here's what I think came out of this meeting. Okay? You ready? Here's what I think came out of this meeting, guys. I believe this. Okay? A chief thing that all the right-wing influencers had with Candace was one statement she had made, guys, where she said, I don't care about the midterms. I'm getting to the bottom of 𝗙lie Kirk. And that had Tim Pool, all the right-wing influencers were like, holy Candace is going to sink the midterms. Okay? I think Erika Kirk went in there and said, here's the deal, Candace. I don't mind that you keep all eyes on 𝗙lie. I want 𝗙lie and his name and his work. I want him to be in the daily vernacular. I want him talked about every fucking day, but I don't want to ruin the midterms. And in fact, I might be running for office down the road. So what I want is I want you to talk about 𝗙lie and keep all this shit going, but I want you to protect our ability to hold political power. That's what I think the crux of this meeting was about. Okay? That's what I think this meeting has more to do with anything, is keep 𝗙lie relevant and let's keep talking about him, but don't ruin our shit. Don't fucking sink the team. Okay? And in exchange, we'll give you X, Y, and Z.
Let's get to this extraordinary meeting that you had with Erika Kirk. It came right after we saw her say in that CBS town hall, you should just stop with the conspiracy theories. So who approached who about you guys actually getting together?
I was approached by Turning Point after Blake Neff, who works on 𝗙lie's show, sort of fumbled this invite. It was, I'd almost say it was a fake invite publicly. And then in the middle of the night said, oh, Candace is not able to be here tomorrow. And they never messaged me. And I think there was quite a bit of public backlash with how they went about it. It just was just not the way that we try to set meetings. And so what happened after was they reached out to me, said Erika would agree to do a live stream, just the two of us. And then after Erika's PR blitz, they reached out again and said that they felt that it was better for us to meet one-on-one, as opposed to us sitting down having Megyn Kelly moderate, which was the idea originally.
Right. And so where did you have your summit meeting?
At a hotel here in Nashville.
And a lot of your, as you know, a lot of your supporters, fans of your show, think that you may have been lured into a trap. Did anything while you were there make you think you were being lured into a trap?
I don't know that a lot of my fans think that I was being lured into a trap. I think ahead of time they had some concerns, obviously, because I think in general, after you see a public assassination and you start tracking so many lies that are happening, there's going to be an understandable amount of angst that people feel.
Dude, this is funny, bro. I mean, dude, I feel like there's a group grift that's happening. And yes, they were freaking out. She even delivered an Instagram live where she said, hey guys, I'm still alive. There it is.
4.5 hours later, I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm totally fine, and I'm sorry. I was going to do a show for you guys this evening, but...
Huh. Oh, that's weird. Oh, there weren't really people that were worried about this. But my first words, 4.5 hours later, she purposely didn't tweet for 4.5 hours to stir that pot, guys. 4.5 hours later, she didn't tweet. She had her phone with her. She could have easily fired off a tweet. Dude, they're going to game it, guys. Her and Erika are going to combine forces and make some type of financial or otherwise right-wing thing, something that Candace wants. Candace is going to get. And they're going to game us together, okay? This is some bullshit.
And I certainly felt the angst as well. I've obviously been very clear that I am suspicious of some of the characters that are at Turning Point USA. So I totally understand why the public was concerned.
Dude, the question I wonder is she going to pull a Trump move and try to get certain people she doesn't like ousted from TPUSA? Or is she going to get reconnected to TPUSA in some way? You know what I mean?
When you saw Erika, she was obviously angry about you in that CBS town hall. What was her demeanor like when you met her?
Well, I don't think that she thought she was angry in that. I think maybe that was the characterization from the public. I certainly thought she was angry as well. And she sort of clarified that she was a bit annoyed by the questioning, the way in which Barry had set up the question with the podcaster Candace Owens, which I think was definitely being driven more by Barry Weiss's feelings towards me, long-running feelings towards me, than it was perhaps for the benefit of CBS and trying to pretend to be an impartial journalist. So I think she was frustrated by the line of questioning, is what she explained to me.
So how would you categorize the 4.5 hours? If you were looking at it in totality, what was the...
Yeah, you notice that? Oh, she defended Erika by blaming Barry Weiss. That interesting. Huh. Oh, Erika was upset by Barry Weiss, by the establishment, the institution, CBS. Dude, yeah, that interview bombed. You know why? Because nobody's watching this. The only people that are watching this are people that are content creators trying to use this shit to gut TPUSA and to gut the MAGA movement. Otherwise, nobody fucking cares, bro. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody even cared about 𝗙lie Kirk, man. I mean, dude, if you look at this, if you look at Kirk, like on the Google Trends, dude, look at 𝗙lie Kirk on Google Trends, boss. Okay? This was 𝗙lie Kirk when he got shot. This was 𝗙lie Kirk a couple of weeks later. By October 1st, he was a flatline. And he still is. And, you know, in fact, Candace is lying. And TPUSA is definitely lying, and Barry Weiss was lying, you know what I mean? So, like, man, we'll see what happens.
And so I think they recognize that, and that the public simply doesn't believe the story that they've been fed, and the psychological operation to convince us not to believe our own eyes or to trust our common sense instincts has failed. Okay, and I think on their end, they got more clarity on how I figured out certain things, more clarity on why I am convinced that there are people that are inside of Turning Point that are dirty. And I was able to share more with them off record. And I think that they got more clarity in exchange.
Before we get into some of the sort of specifics, is there not a danger here? I've already seen it in some of the reaction from people that follow your show. Is there not a danger that in seeking to be the one that exposes the truth, and I don't know the truth about what happened to 𝗙lie Kirk. I work on the assumption that this lone, twisted, weirdo Tyler Robinson killed him for whatever reason, and I suspect, personally, that is how this will play out. However, I have an open mind in the sense that we still don't really know what happened with President Kennedy's assassination. I found the attempted assassination of Donald Trump very odd in the way that's been handled by the authorities and so on. I'm not naive. As a journalist of 40 years, I'm not naive enough to say every single thing you've been saying is obviously baloney, because I don't know. And we'll get to some of the more specific details. But is there not a danger, Candace, that by having a 4.5-hour private meeting, rather than doing it in public, that all you're really going to do, collectively actually, you and Erika Kirk, is fuel the conspiracy theories?
There it is.
What you may or may not have discussed in that meeting, what part of the stuff that you've been brought...
Dude, I don't like Piers Morgan because he's a hustler too, but goddamn if he hasn't been the voice of sanity lately with Valentina Gomez, and now being right here where he's exactly like, you went and had a private meeting, but you didn't share any of the info. So now everybody is just fueling every conspiracy theory and a new one that you two are working in lockstep to like mutually grift, right? Calling out Fuentes, yes. Dude, Piers has been on the ball lately.
Casting on your show she agrees with and doesn't agree with, and so on. Is there not a danger this is the least transparent way of going about trying to get solutions here?
Well, I'm a very transparent person, so my preference was to do it publicly, but I took the offer, obviously, to have any conversation, because if I hadn't done that, then I think everything I'm in doing would have appeared disingenuous. Like, oh, Candace is pretending that she wants answers to her questions, but when she got this offer, she suddenly said she didn't want to go because it wasn't public. They would have felt like I was moving the goalpost.
Dude, that's bullshit. That's bullshit, because they offered her a public showing to come to 𝗙PE USA. She could have just said, okay, I'll come to public. Because think about this, right? Like, she could have gone to the studio and had Erika there. Like, she could have sat in Charlie's chair. This is some bullshit.
So I was willing to take anything. And from their viewpoint, they felt like after the CBS News and the Fox News hits that Erika did, it was, my understanding was that they felt that it was a good idea to bring the temperature down first by having us sit down and communicate. And that doesn't mean that they necessarily say, oh, well, that's it. Now we're not going to have any other public discussion. I'm hopeful they will. I think they should. I totally agree with you. More transparency, the better.
Who else was in the meeting? Erika was there. Who else was there?
Justin Strife, who is the COO of Turning Point USA, and my husband was only there for a portion of it, and my cousin.
So there were no lawyers, for example?
No lawyers. But they did phone their lawyer because I asked the question. I was like, look, I'm open to being wrong, obviously. If there is something, which I think the media was kind of hinting at, that they had more, but they couldn't share it with the public, I said, I'm happy to keep my mouth shut. And I want to feel good walking out of here that there is something there. There is some sort of a smoking gun. And I will tell viewers just to be patient. And so they did call one of the lawyers working on this case, and it was not convincing at all.
Dude, this is so shady because once a lawyer gets involved, like, dude, this is just getting whacked, right? This shit is getting whacked.
Said in effect, all we have is what the public has seen. And we won't know more because we're investigating and looking for more. And so that just made me go, why is everybody being so over the top and ridiculous and using words like the evidence is overwhelming? It was Tyler Robinson, when they don't have anything that's overwhelming to show that they don't have a video of him taking the shot, which I think was something that I assumed, like, okay, there's all these cameras. Maybe they actually have that video.
But dude, that's bullshit, because there's a camera that shows that entire roof. If Tyler took the shot, there is video from that parking lot camera where we saw him run and shows the whole goddamn roof. If he, right, it starts in the middle, but if he took a shot from that roof, it is on that fucking camera, dude.
And they're waiting for a moment to release that to the public. They don't have that. Or at least I can say Erika's side has not seen that. And the lawyer communicated to me that they would not have access to that until earliest would be May. That right now they're just investigating, just like we're doing back at home.
Okay, you said that your motive for going to the meeting was that you would be able to come out and tell the world Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. So are you in a position to say that? Do you believe, as a consequence of your 4.5 hours with Erika, do you believe that it is now most likely that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk?
Absolutely not. I haven't seen one piece of compelling evidence that Tyler Robinson scaled the rooftops like Spider-Man on a college campus that he didn't go to, and fired one shot, a magic bullet shot, and killed Charlie Kirk. I have not seen one piece of compelling evidence. In fact, I've seen more compelling evidence to the contrary.
Who does Erika think?
Who does Erika think killed her husband?
Well, I think that in her recent PR blitz, she sort of communicated that she trusted her team, and her lawyer was using kind of the same rhetoric that the media has been using, where, there's really, this is like, it's overwhelming. Maybe he didn't say the word overwhelming, but he was like, it's very clear, I think is what he said. And
remember, there were no lawyers at the meeting, right? There were no lawyers at the meeting. Oh, except the lawyer that called into the meeting. And now she's like, when asked about Erika Kirk, she's like, well, Erika's lawyer said, I mean, do you see how her narrative about this whole fucking meeting is already like kind of like flimsily, like in a question about what does Erika think? Candace is telling us what Erika's lawyer said when we had been told like 1 minute ago that there were no lawyers except the guy who just called in. Dude, it is some bullshit they're selling. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.